difficulties that I had in overcoming. Okay? And because of that, it's a known fact that as one person heals, everybody heals. It's that ripple effect. It's the whole energy of the planet. Okay, so therefore, I got into life coaching because I recognized that if I found a way to overcome my own difficulties, then it was up to my contribution to the planet, to humankind, is to help other people as well. All right? Okay, so now that I am at least videoing this using my own webcam, and then we'll upload it later on to YouTube, what we're doing is this. So I have a caller here. Caller, introduce yourself.
Yes, this is James.
Okay, James, how can I help you?
What do you love about life coaching?
I love about life coaching the same thing that I love about being a professor, and that is watching an individual who thought that their difficulties were insurmountable. I like watching that person evolve over the course of 120 days. And I say 120 days is because that has been proven to be the amount of time with consistent work and practice that a person can change their minds. And many of our difficulties in life are due to the fact that we need to change our minds about ourselves, about things that we've experienced in the past, so forth and so on. So that's what I love the most about life coaching. Okay? So,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. All right, so listeners and viewers, as you see here, I have on like this really large t-shirt, okay? And I've been walking around with this t-shirt. And what I'm walking around with this t-shirt to show is that life coaching is a matter of perspective and changing a person's perspective by changing their mindset. So bear with me because this is the first time I'm doing this on camera. And I've said to my audience, let's hope I don't have a wardrobe malfunction. All right, so let me push this back a little bit more. And as you can see, I'm kind of creative and all that good stuff, all right? So this is what you have. You see, this is a t-shirt, right? Yep. Now, a t-shirt, a very large t-shirt. Definitely, if you were to see me walking on the street wearing this huge t-shirt, what would be your first impression? Homeless? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? A scrub? Cheap? Okay. All right. Low confidence? Okay. So now, I want you to watch a transformation. Bear with me. I'm not stripping on camera. All right. Okay. All right, so that was a t-shirt that I looked homeless in, correct? All right. Now, let's see here. If I can get somebody to pan this out a little bit so that people can see. All right. So that t-shirt is now, bring it down a little bit more, is now a dress. Thank you. I did that to demonstrate that that's what life coaching is about. Life coaching is about taking your perception, how you visually perceive something, and changing your perspective. Okay? Because our perceptions are always about how we see things. And here it was, when I had the big t-shirt on, someone would look at me and their first impression and their perception of me would be cheap, homeless, what was the other one?
Scrub.
A scrub, okay? All right? But then right before your very eyes, I transformed the t-shirt into a dress. Okay? That's how easy it is. And I say easy from the standpoint of nobody from the outside can change your mindset. Yes, sir.
Dr. Wade, I got a question.
Sure.
Is life coaching always 100% successful?
Is life coaching always 100% successful? Well, it depends. Well, you know what? It really depends. Listen, but I mean, it really depends on the individual and how that individual perceives success. Okay? Because when you ask me, how did I get into life coaching? I got into life coaching, and I believe that I addressed this last week about what is emotional physical therapy. But I actually got into life coaching because I recognized that I had a mindset that was prone to negative thinking. And so, and how many of us do this? Let me just take a random poll. How many people say, well, this is what I hope for? However, I wouldn't be surprised if the opposite happens. How many people? A lot of us do that. Now, again, from a show of hands, have you ever gotten what you hoped for if you expected the opposite? No. If you do an inventory, and that's what life coaching is really all about. It's all about not even planning for the opposite to happen. Why would you even divert your energy to the possibility of what you don't want? Why would you? That's like me saying, okay, I'm going to do this live stream broadcast, but just in case it doesn't work, then I won't broadcast at all. Does that make sense? No, because, and this is how life coaching works, because even in the event that, okay, I needed to do something else, which what I'm doing, which eventually it will be uploaded to YouTube, so it still accomplishes its ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is still accomplished. What often happens with life coaching is that you help people to focus on, okay, you don't have to be responsible for every detail. That's where our obstacles come up, because we are so focused on I have to understand how I'm going to reach my ultimate goal. When there's a lot of pieces that go into an ultimate goal that you have no control over. You look at the project that my students are doing, okay? Initially, and this always happens every semester, when they find out, okay, we have to do this group project, we have to do X, Y, and Z, and this is live, because really that's what happens. The group projects are live. This is not like in a bubble. It's not a within class case study, never, okay? So therefore, what you have is it's live and you have to get it done. That's it. The details always work themselves out if you expect them to. So it's about expectations. All right, any other questions? Yes, sir.
What are some of the challenges that come along with life coaching?
People who want to hold on to the obstacles. Okay, and an example of that is, okay, because I do a lot of couples coaching, okay? And initially, the way I do couples coaching is this. I bring them in together for the first session and the final session. And I do it at the first session together because I want to hear from both parties what is the objective. What is the objective? You know, why are you here? Okay? In that first session, I get to see the dynamics between the two people. 90% of the time, the dynamics are the pointing of fingers. If he would just do this, if she would just do this, then we would be fine. Now, the challenge is when people always want to be externally focused, that the circumstances have to be aligned before their mind would change. That's always the biggest challenge. And what my job is and what I do is this. I kind of reel them back in. And I say, the only thing that you have, the only person that is within your control is you. And so going back to what I do with couples, I let them know. The objective when you come to me is this, is that the mindset that has brought you here and that I can tell you most definitely has kept you in a cycle, regardless of who the other player is, you're still having the repeat experiences, that's what will change. We cannot change the other person. The only thing we can do is change how you think. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How does one become qualified to be a life coach?
Well, it's interesting because now there are various programs, okay? I went through the American University of NLP, all right? And it was an online course, but the work was very extensive. And you have some people with psychology backgrounds and things of that nature that go and, they specialize in life coaching. Now, what is ahead for emotional physical therapy, because it is a structured approach to life coaching, is that I will be certifying life coaches. I will have a life coaching certification program that the life coaches, somebody coming into the program, they would have to actually go through emotional physical therapy before they can, be awarded certification on it. Okay? Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Can children benefit from life coaching?
Oh, yes. And you know what? The earlier, the better. Because with children, it is very important that we allow them, that we, number one, empower them. Allow them to speak. And allow them to honor their feelings. Because most people that come to me, what is causing them the most difficulty is the fact that their feelings, they were taught, stuff like boys don't do this, you shouldn't do that at a very young age. So the mindset kind of got stifled early on. That negativity was already set in, beginning that process of negativity. Because what is that? Again, hope for the best, but expect the worst. It's like, really? Is that what you really want to teach your children? No. And the first time you recognize that this is what you're teaching your children, that's when it's important to begin the process of undoing that. And like what I practice with tapping within emotional physical therapy, children are very, very receptive to it, because the younger you are, the less you have been impacted by the negative mindset of the adults around you. Okay? All right, I have another caller on the line. Caller, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Johnny.
Yes, Johnny, how can I help you today?
Yes, I was wondering, what is the difference between life coaching and traditional counseling?
Well, in traditional counseling, there's more of people go because they want to talk to a professional about, the issues that are in their lives. And the traditional professionals, I'm going to say talk therapy is more about helping the person through the process of talking to come to an understanding of pretty much why things happened, okay, and how it impacted them and how they're playing that stuff out, over their lifetime. With life coaching, I'm less of a quote-unquote listener as I am in helping the person to see that there are ways to overcome without being caught up in what happened, like not replaying the narrative so much, because that's really not my, that's not really, I'm not going to say it's not helpful, but people tend to stay in traditional counseling a lot longer than what they would need with a coach. Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you, ma'am. In the back?
What is your biggest success?
Wow. My biggest success is a client that started with me approximately, it'll be a year this month, okay? A year. And it really was 120 days to infinity for this client, because when he walked in, we'd had several misconnects as far as him being able to get to his appointment, the initial appointment. And so on the third try, he finally was able to get it because he had issues with transportation. I mean, his marriage he wasn't happy there. He wasn't happy in his career. He had some stuff undone, some stuff just left unresolved that he needed to work, that was really bothering him. And his health was an issue. And he walked in, that third time was the charm. He walked in and he says, "I'm finally here." And he said, "I feel like a failure." Body language, the body was, down, head down. And I was like, whoa, okay. Number one, you said you feel like a failure. We need to address these things. And watching him actually evolve over the 120 days, because we met on a weekly basis. And during that time, as he was relaying, the encounters, the exchanges with his wife and church and work and all of these things, and the main thing I kept saying to him was, what is within your control? When we began to, his mindset began to shift from all of the circumstances that he saw as keeping him from being happy to, okay, let's dig deeper on why you're in, I think it was like why are you in your fourth marriage? Here you are in your fourth marriage. And with life coaching, I ask some really tough questions, because it is about the individual. The other people are not there in the room. The other people are not part of this conversation. They're not part of this process as you are actively engaged in it. So with him, I just said, okay, so you realize that the common denominator in the 4 failed marriages, and you're on number 4 now, is you. So what part do you play in this? Because based on your description of the 3, now 4 different spouses, is you keep attracting to you what you say you don't want. We need to examine that. So everybody plays a part in our own dramas, and we have to be willing to accept responsibility for it, because it's our choices that causes us to experience those dramas. Yes, sir.
Hey, who is your typical client?
My typical client is somebody who is actually sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay, that's really the type of people I want to attract to what I do with emotional physical therapy. Somebody who is willing to commit to doing the work on him or herself, because it is a matter of reinventing one's self from the inside out. It's not Dr. White reinventing you. I like to say I'm like a mindset midwife. I help to facilitate that process of reinvention, to where things that you wouldn't consider before, like I said, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're sick and tired of experiencing everything that you say you don't want. So we change everything from the words that we use. We change everything from where we are directing our energy. So instead of, for instance, somebody who's always complaining about their career. Well, if you don't like your career, you have the option of choosing another career. And then when you say but, there's no such thing as but. Because when you say but, you're negating the possibility of what you say you want actually being what you experience. Yes, sir.
When did you start life coaching?
I actually started life coaching. It's interesting because I actually started life coaching when I started the company, Development After Sports, back in 1991 in an official capacity, because I was working with athletes. And I was working with athletes to help them transition to life after sports. So that's when I actually officially got started with life coaching. Life coach, that you have a lot of monikers out there. Like you have health coaches who help people with, their health and wellness. My specialty had been pretty much within the athletic realm because I understood that realm. But what I found is that transition is transition. And throughout our lives, we transition. I mean, you think about it. When you go from being, and look at how we capitalize, and we celebrate birthdays. We celebrate those milestones. When kids go from 9 to 10, ooh, I'm double digits now. Okay? From 10 to 18? Well, 16, you can drive. 18, you can vote. 21, you can drink. Okay? So we celebrate those milestones, but we don't realize that with each one of the milestones comes additional responsibility for oneself. So that's how I got started. Yes, sir.
How is life coaching different with athletes compared to your husband and wife?
Well, because athletes, performance issues are really like at the tip of the iceberg, okay? And because once somebody experiences a slip in performance, then they are more open to changing their minds, and especially after an injury. If an athlete has been injured and they've never had an injury before, especially one that has kept them on the sidelines, then what begins to happen is they begin to doubt their body, and they think that there's some kind of disconnect. People laugh about superstitions. Like this athlete does this, this, and this before every game. If they don't do this, then they point to that as being the reason why they didn't perform as well. It's easier to deal with people who actually believe in the power of the mind. And that's the main difference between athletes and non-athletes, because athletes are less likely to need to understand why. Because what they want to do is they want to get back to either the level that they were, or they want to improve their performance. So they're more open. They're more open to, okay, so I'm thinking this, so this is what's going on. Okay, how can I now overcome that? Because I need to get back out there. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I hear there's something going on this weekend. Can you tell me about it?
Oh, yes. There is something going on this weekend. We're having the launch. And let's see here. Can I pull it up? All right, here it is. Thank you, sir. Here is the official flyer. And you're seeing it from the background, but okay. It says Damn Good Party, and DAM stands for my initials. Okay? And it is taking place, the launch is this Friday, June 13th, at the Atlantic Boulevard Beach Access at 5 p.m. to sunset. We're having a beach soccer tournament because, as you know, this week kicks off what?
World Cup.
World Cup. Yes, in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And because I love Brazil, now I'm rooting for Team USA.
USA.
Yes.
USA. USA.
USA.
All right.
That we can win.
Okay. I am rooting for Team USA. And in keeping with the Brazilian theme, the launch party is going to have a carnival theme. It's going to be a lot of fun activities. We're having yoga. Yes, you get to experience the physical component of emotional physical therapy. Now, at that point where we will have sponsors there, and if you are interested in sponsoring, you need to hit us up. Yes, you need to hit us up. The information will be provided. There are flyers all across the city of Jacksonville. You can look on our Facebook page, facebook.com/emotional physical therapy, all one word. Let's see. You can email Dr. Dam White, yes, Dr. D-A-M White @gmail.com, Twitter @Dr. Dam White, Instagram @Dr. Dam White. You know it. That's how we do it. So, are there any other questions before we sign off? Okay, no other questions. Again, come out for the big launch party. And if you know how I like to do it, it's going to be a good time. That's why it's called Damn Good Party. Launching emotional physical therapy, showcasing the programs, and the whole purpose is to launch my brand, people. Yes. launch the brand. My platform is, again, as an athlete, a vegan bikini athlete. Yes. That's why with life coaching, it doesn't matter when you start, as long as you start. Okay? Thank you for tuning in, and see you Friday the 13th.
USA!
Party!
USA!